Happy New Year,
And
folks,
we're
and welcome.
back.
Yep, this is happening.
You go first.
No, because you already started. You're gonna immediately
No,
stop
no,
me.
no. I just you told me I wasn't even unmuted yet.
I mean, you're unmuted now. So
I'm muted now.
you're unmuted now.
Oh, why did you mute me?
We hadn't. I didn't even unmute you when you started talking.
Was it like a control thing?
Don't think I could like, send digital packets of a beanbag through the internet to hit you in the face right now.
You want to throw packets? You're threatening violence against me?
No, I would say it's a promise, but I don't want to get this podcast banned.
No, you just jump right in there. It's like first couple seconds of 2024, and you're already threatening me.
Happy New Year, folks, and welcome back to the Anime4ALL podcast. We took off 2 weeks, actually unintentionally. Probably gonna be 1 week, but things happen. Life got in the way, some more than others.
Things happen. That's your deep thought for today. Things happen.
Yeah, apparently 6 is on your side.
Yeah, 6 is totally on my side. 6 is the best.
Note to self: taking it up with him in Final Fantasy Thursday.
What? That he's on my side?
Oh no, he knows what I mean. He knows
Are
what I
you
mean.
threatening? Are
No,
you threatening 6 now?
no, he knows what I mean.
Those are fighting words on 6.
No. 2024.
So anyway, everybody,
God,
welcome to Anime4ALL Season 3. We're watching Kenshin. We're on Episode 10, A Reason to Act. We have Game Hunter. I'm Game Hunter, and my co-host, Spear and Magic Helmet, is with me, as well as our text-based co-host, Six of Cyrus, who is in the chat right now, giving us emotional and mental support, which I appreciate greatly. Spirit Magic Helmet is up to his usual nonsense of threatening people, threatening Six, threatening me, and causing a lot of problems just in general. So we are going to start episode 10, A Reason to Act. It's an episode of Kenshin, and Kenshin has a sword. Spirit, did you have any thoughts?
Do you expect me to answer you when you're like this?
I was just trying to get the podcast rolling. We were getting off topic there with all your threats and stuff.
The first day of literally 2024. Like, if people don't know this, this is literally the first. This is literally the first day of 2024.
Yeah, 9:25 p.m. You ready for another year?
I don't know. After that little display,
We've been doing this podcast for how many years now?
I have no idea. You probably would have said 3. I think. I don't really know.
Probably.
I think it's
more
been
than
less than the years we've known each other.
Oh, it's definitely been less than the years we've known each other, but I think it's been like, I mean, think about it. It goes all the way back to like Dragon Ball, season 1 of My Hero Academia.
Oh, we were doing this podcast in season 1. I actually looked it up. We did not review that part.
We didn't review season 1. When did we start My Hero Academia?
Season 2.
Oh, okay.
So
a long time ago.
I think it was because I watched season 1 like I usually do with new anime when I'm not 100% well. I have a tendency to do this. It helps out my thinking process. And I watched the whole season 1. Didn't think there was going to be season 2. I think I showed you season 1. I told you about season 1 at some point. And then you watched it and you loved it. And I think at some point season 2 was announced. I don't know where the podcast came from, but I'm guessing it was just a desire to talk about the anime and have a place to do it. So, yeah, that is the very uncomplicated origin story of this podcast. Actually, speaking of My Hero, we can actually announce this now that we now have a release date. Sorry, that was my frustration. But I believe it's May 4th. that season 7 is releasing. As for this being the final season, I have no idea. I saw articles saying that maybe they would do half of an arc in one season and then they'll end it all in the next season. I don't know if they're gonna do that, considering that the studio itself has a habit of like animating 3 arcs in one season. So like it would go against how they've been animating. But since I know that My Hero isn't done yet, apparently the creator is saying he's winding down. So I'm not sure what's going on in the My Hero verse, but I know he's saying that he is gearing up to end it. I've been seeing a lot of Google feed about certain things that have apparently broken the internet so badly they made it sway to me. So I haven't seen a lot. I've just seen tidbits that I didn't want to see. But unfortunately, because I scroll to Google sometimes, like, ah, dang it.
I mean, I'm just really happy that they're doing anything. Like, they want to make another season, and may the fourth be with them. You know?
Dang it.
What?
Ah, dang, he ran with it. I did not mean to give him that lead, but he ran with it. But yeah, May the 4th. I think that's before we actually talk about the current topic we have, which is Rurouni Kenshin. One last thing, I find it kind of funny that he's, I guess, they're having that studio's releasing this on May the 4th, considering that the creator has a fascination with Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I told you this before when we first started viewing. Like, one of the streets named in one of the cities is Tatooine.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it's literally in there when you look at it in the background. It's like it's
you
right
see
there.
so little influence from Star Wars in My Hero Academia, though.
I think like the whole Shigaraki One for All Might thing. I think that's probably the most Star Wars. It's because the secret lies, the connections, family memories, and stuff like that. It's probably the most Star Wars. But yeah, just very little. I mean, he only does call outs, but I definitely know that he's a fan of it. He's also a fan of American Heroes. Who knew? Who knew? That's...
Nobody knew. Not even a single person.
Meanwhile, there's somebody over there typing away at their keyboard like, motherfucker, I knew about this third time.
No, if you hear me typing, it's because me and Six are whispering to each other and trying to figure out what you're going to do to him.
I don't have to worry about it. It's nothing at all. I'm just making empty threats like I usually do.
We're pretty sure you're going to put a flaming bag of poo on his front door.
I don't even know where he lives. How would I even do that? I feel like that would get him in more trouble than anything else.
Hire a private detective, maybe, and then, you know, like what I learned. I worked at one of those places where you call in and like have flowers delivered. And you just say where you are, and they call a florist and like have it delivered. I found you can get almost anything delivered. A florist will deliver almost anything additional for you as long as you order flowers with it.
I mean, flowers is our business.
I know, but you can have almost anything in addition to the flowers delivered with the flowers. Like I had a gooseneck gourd delivered with flowers once for Jesse.
How much did that run you? You remember?
They just said, "Oh yeah, we drive by a farm stand on the way to work that sells them. We'll stop and pick one up and make it part of the delivery." You can get but that's what I found out from working there, because you'd get all these weird requests for things that people wanted delivered with their flowers, and I found out you can ask them to deliver anything. You'd be like, "Can you go next door and pick up some cupcakes and deliver them too?" Or
well, I mean, anything within reason. I think we need to.
I mean, I think a gooseneck gourd pushes the boundaries of reason, but you know, that's just me talking.
How heavy is a gooseneck gourd? Let me look this up.
A gooseneck gourd is like a good 7 or 8 pounds.
I think that's within reason. I mean, it doesn't look all that big from the pictures I'm saying. Though I will say that one thing about this that I find even the most disturbing is why does America find it impossible to grow anything that doesn't really have a valid shape? I just gotta like. And that's the reason why
It
you
looks
have
like
one
a
delivered.
goose.
I see the
It
goose,
looks
but
like a goose.
I see the goose, but if you look beyond the goose real quick. Oh well, whatever.
Oh my
Heck?
gosh.
Oh, it's getting DLC. Nice. Totally gone off topic here. 2024. I learned nothing last year. I'm gonna keep it that way. Alright, I saw the gooseneck board.
Yeah, they're good weight, right?
I don't think it's beyond reason. I mean, it's a fruit, but not really a fruit. It's a gourd, and that doesn't look like as big as gourds can get. So, but I don't think it's like. I would say like maybe having them deliver the biggest thing you could think to someone's house with the flowers. They probably would do it if they want their business to flourish. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine them saying no. And like, I guess
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's like, you know, I would say within reason, just so that you don't have these like florists walking around with a cow on a leash. I mean, that's probably the most ridiculous thing that you could probably ask them to deliver. That's also
A cow on a leash.
yeah, cow on a leash with flowers. Just deliver that to someone else.
Maybe like a decommissioned World War II grenade or something.
Oh no, please don't do that. Nobody do that. Nobody do that. If you do it, do not say we told you to do so.
Just, you know, if you deliver the flowers, would you also deliver a decommissioned World War II grenade?
Where would you even find that? I feel like you would spend more money on that, on just the finding of that, than the money you would spend on the flowers. Like, would it be even worth it at that point?
I don't know. Not every florist will do it, but if you call a few florists, you can get them to deliver almost anything. It's just a good little life hack.
A life hack to send a decommissioned World War II grenade. Okay, on the concept of a World War II grenade, we're gonna go further back in time to a time of fighting and swords and empires. That's why we're talking about Rurouni Kenshin season 1, episode 10, titled, I have it right here. If I don't, Reason to Act. This was I had to actually refresh myself on what happened in the last episode, at least at the end of it. I still stand by what I said about the guy and his teeth. In the sweat. I don't even remember what we said. So I want to bring that up too. Our podcast kind of spiked in views at one point. We hit like 400 and some odd views on these episodes.
That's pretty great.
That's better than I was ever expecting. Where is it? Still no like interaction. I'm hoping that maybe we'll get somebody saying something back, but thank you for watching. Especially those people that watched that one episode.
Especially that one guy in Brazil. Shout out to that one guy in Brazil that subscribed to us.
This is gonna become a recurring thing, and I need to get that one guy in Brazil just response. The episode
I just like the guy in Brazil. Shout out to him. He's like our best follower.
That's weird. I thought it was 400, but no, according to my stats, it's saying it's 287. Almost 300, so that's still just as good.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So everything that he said. But
everything that I said?
Well, not everything you said, actually. We can take that back. Everything you said about the episode getting views, that was everything with that. Everything beforehand, the decommission grenade, please don't do that.
You sure you don't want to give me like a bar none endorsement for everything I've said so far today?
No, I really don't. Like that it may not come back to bite me right now, but I'm pretty sure 5 years from now, I'm gonna be walking down the street just like, hey, you remember that advice you gave us about sending a florist with a decommissioned like World War grenade? No.
Well, I just got out of jail. I'm pretty ticked off at you.
It wasn't me. Meanwhile, you are somewhere in an undisclosed location in another country.
Yeah.
Can't find
I
you.
would never have to deal with the consequences of my actions. You know that.
But yeah, a reason to act. This episode is the continuation of what's going on with Megumi and her um opium creation. This episode focuses a little bit on her, but mostly just like on the secondary act of like the Oni Waban group and what they're attempting to do. But as I guess to explain a little bit, like Megumi, start the episode off with Megumi apparently making ohagi for the group in the dojo.
Sounds dirty.
With,
Megumi making ohagi. She's out there making ohagi for the group, you know. Making a little ohagi. No.
Apparently it's a sweet bean confection that when looked up, apparently there's a meaning behind it being made, which kind of gives significance to why she made it for them. And apparently that's something to do with like being like grants the windfall, like I guess like being saved is a good I guess and that not anagram, but a good word that we use there, that she felt like she got saved by them. She felt grateful. That's kind of funny that she actually made the mohawk. It was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because there's a proverb that says a Batachi falls down from a shelf, and that means getting a windfall or having a lucky break. I thought that was kind of cool too. It's made from the outer part of the ohagi is made from a red bean paste, and then the inner part is made from white rice. It's like a ratio of 7 parts white rice and 3 parts red bean paste, and it's actually considered a confection, so I assume that it's a sweet tasting thing. And ohagi, when you look it up on Wikipedia, it redirects to batamochi, but there's also another name that it's, and ohagi is considered like a secondary name for it. Batamochi is the more common name for it. They think that ohagi is the same thing as batamochi because they're like, ohagi uses a very slightly different texture of azuki paste, but otherwise the two recipes are almost identical, so they're not sure if they were the same recipe or their origins are different for the two of them, and they just are coincidentally almost the same thing. But other than that, what was the other thing that I'm trying to remember? One is made in the spring and the other is made in the fall. I think that was the other thing that was like slightly different about it. The two different names. Some are derived from botan. Botamochi is derived from botan, which blooms in the spring, and ohagi's name derives from hagi, which is a Japanese bush clover, which blooms during the autumn. So the two names are for after flowers that bloom in the spring or the autumn, and that's the only other big difference between them. So they're so similar that they're considered the same thing usually.
I think they are the same thing. I just think that when I looked at it, it looks like, I think batamochi is like probably the more. I think it's something where like batamochi is the modern term for it, but it was referred as ohagi by some people. I think it's been a fight with what they're calling it. There's even a recipe for like to make it and on YouTube, and it's like batamochi recipe, but then they have ohagi in parentheses. I think they're the exact same thing, but as you said before, yeah, the way they're made is currently different, and that's what's causing a problem. But
Yeah.
But I wanted to mostly this is currently made in the autumn, but I'm guessing maybe it's made at the very beginning of autumn, so the end of spring into autumn. Get some, the naming of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I saw this before, even looking at it, I thought of mochi because I've actually had that once. Didn't really like it. Texture thing really more than anything else. Surprisingly, you can like get a like a acquired taste, and probably also my issue was like it was bought online. Maybe having fresh mochi is probably different. But yeah, that's what that reminded me of is mochi, but I know they're different. And also they look kind of similar, but they're just the outside texture of shell is like you can definitely tell they're different. Yeah, and they're just a Japanese confection. They're a sweet, is what they are. And speaking of sweets too, we can
You said you said you've had it before?
I had mochi before.
Oh, okay, cool.
But let's talk about confections and sweets. Sanosuke walks in because we saw him earlier in the episode, like walking, I guess, back after the results of the opium that was in the white envelope that he had in his hand. And he gets back, he's upset. The Kenshin offers like to eat this ohage like that she prepared, and he says not gonna eat anything touched by opium girl. And then
Which really hurts her feelings.
we get to that. And he just walks off, storms off, and goes into his room. But yeah, I mean, this entire episode, she completely refers back to those two words, opium girl. Which, I mean, yeah, she understands that she definitely contributed to the issue, but she had no real recourse. Wait, I thought I heard something in Discord. Okay, but yeah, he's like, I mean, like Kenshin pretty much like lets him go, saying that he's just frustrated. He has nothing to, put his fist into or do anything. He has no way to do with anything. Again, this show kind of showing its age a little bit because we're kind of leading into the typical like leader, like the antagonist is like Lair. We're gonna go there and we're gonna go there and have like a one-on-one fight with one each like some really powerful warriors, which happens at the end of the episode. But before we get to that, I guess you put it here at 4:30 after the whole situation with the being called opium girl. She's seen washing the dishes that she used to make the hage, and this very obviously suspicious man like walks up with some library books apparently, or whatever books that she was like, I guess, either buying or renting. And he's like, he's been saying, I've been seeing you a lot lately apparently. I think she's been there for up to a week by this point, I think. It's just she's been there for 10 days. She's been there for more than a week then. But she says like what exactly did she say? She's like, I've been seeing you a lot lately, and she says something back, and he triggers him to turn into the masked guy, Hanya, I think is his name. And Prince tells her to go meet Kanryu in the woods by herself, talk to him. And Prince, he walks away. I guess not before. I think no. Kanryu is the one that threatens her to destroy the dojo with fire arrows. Back to this guy being as like crooked as possibly he can be, threatening her to come back to make more opium for him. Really don't like this character. No, I know you said that last time you don't like this character, but I really don't like this character.
He's really despicable. You know what I mean? Like, he's very, like, I don't know, he's just wretched. Like, he's just an fundamentally unlikable character no matter what, no matter how you slice it.
I mean, I think I'm not saying that this is all big business, but he kind of represents, like, big business, like, that does anything they want to make money.
Yeah.
It's like he's not like all big business, but like I think he exemplifies the very bad part of big business. Which is, I'm gonna destroy everything to get what I want, and you're gonna help me, or I'm gonna destroy your friends. Essentially, he threatens her, saying that you don't come back by midnight, we're gonna go and destroy the dojo, your friends in it. We're gonna make sure that everybody's in there to die. He does this and he walks off. She goes to the ground and starts crying. Saying that she can't run away. This is like all her fault. And then the words "opium girl" come back over her mind again. And then Kanryu is like walking off, and then crap. what's his name? The guy, the tall man with the sword. Where is it? Ayoshi Shinomori. He says like, are you sure this is okay to have her come out here? Rio, again showing how despicable of a person he is, shows his cowardice, saying that he doesn't want to get involved with getting into a fight with Kenshin, because they now know that he is Himura Batusai. He does not want to get into a fight with them. Ayushi doesn't seem to care that much. He seems more interested in getting into a fight with them than anything else, as we see later. He's like, I don't want to get into a pure.
Doesn't want to inspire his wrath.
And you were highlighting something, and I was just like, what?
Oh no, I'm just fidgeting. Sorry.
Oh. I think I had something you want me to look at.
Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, he just want to get on his bad side, which unfortunately he does later. Spoilers. But he walks away, and then he's like telling him that, I don't want to get involved with him. So he walks off into the woods, and then later on, like a few minutes after the fact, apparently I don't know how she got to the dojo as fast as she did and left as fast as she did, but sees a message saying that she's enjoyed her time with them, but she's gonna head to can you help me out here?
Yeah, Ida, is it, or something like that? The city begins with an A. Iowa, yeah.
She's going back to her home city to meet back with her, at least try to find her family that she'll separate live from. And Kenshin sees through this, realizing that he never really told her there was anybody there that she would know. So why would she go back right now?
And they don't say it straight out, but she also leaves the dishes unwashed. Aizu is where she was gonna head back to.
Sorry, yeah, Aizu. I mean, I saw that and then I was like, whatever.
Well, she left the dishes unwashed, like she made dinner for everybody, and then like half did the dishes, and then all of a sudden writes a note and leaves it by the dishes, saying that like she's suddenly leaving. So it does look suspicious. Like it looks like she left on terms that weren't her natural, her chosen terms.
And she says like she I think it was kind of like, and not all that letter, but it sounded like she probably wished to have stayed a little bit longer, but she didn't. So she was walking away, and then Kenshin's like, "Oh, we gotta go after her," and pretty much Yahiko's on board, and Kenshin turns to Sonosuke, and Sonosuke is still acting, still like upset because his friend, I guess like based on I don't know, the way they translated what he said here. Either it could take him two ways. It sounded like he knew his friend was selling that stuff, and he knew that he wasn't the most upstanding guy, but he was decent enough. But he knew that it was easy to probably fool him to selling this stuff, and he was very.
No, I felt like he called him a candy salesman and a gambler, and he said he was kind of not the greatest person in the world, but like. He was a good guy. It sounded like basically his attitude about it. So I think he really might have been a candy salesman. Like I know I started out saying that he was selling opium, but like the more I've been watching details about him, the more I think he might have been an actual candy salesman.
I'm sorry, I got whiplash from all of that because like was that like October or November?
Yeah, I mean, I started out being almost positive that candy was code for opium.
I think you're right, though. Candy is code for that. But I like at the time I was like, I don't know. But at the same time, now I'm like, the way that they kind of worded it here, to me it sounds like maybe that like maybe he did sell it, and it was like maybe it was one of those, because like on top of that, to play devil's advocate here. If he was legitimately selling candy, how did he get killed? I mean, other than overdosing on opium, but still.
If he was selling opium, then why would Sanosuke stand by him so much, but not stand by Megumi, who was making the opium? Like, how hypocritical would that be?
I mean, no one said that Sanosuke was perfect, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? Because what's the big line between selling opium and
I
making
mean,
opium and
here's the
then
thing
having
though.
it
Maybe
sold.
Sonosuke doesn't really know like what really became of his best friend. He did. I mean, the words he said was like he said before. He was like, he was a good natured guy, but he wasn't the best guy in the world. So I was like, maybe that was him admitting that maybe like maybe that's him admitting that at first he probably didn't think he would take and OD on opium. But maybe he was like maybe he was realizing that maybe even though he's gonna stand by him that he wasn't always the greatest guy in the world. Like maybe he fell on hard times. Like some people do, and they get into these situations where they get caught up in drugs and it ruins their life. In some cases, some people OD on it. But yeah, I mean, there's like a really weird things going on there with the backstory of his friend. But I mean, regardless, he's standing up for him. With all that being said, first he says that why would I fight, for her? What reason do I have to want to get her back? And then Kenshin's like, you didn't really stare into her eyes, did you? And thinking none of saying that out loud, I was like, huh, weird. The smooth talker it wasn't staring into her eyes. It's kind of funny. Sorry, I had to.
He made his mind up a little quickly about her, I think, in some ways.
Yeah.
I could still see the two of them ending up together, though, couldn't you?
I really don't remember, yeah, I would like it, but at the same time, it's like one of those situations like I don't really know, because it's not like those two shared a moment. Now, again, we're like getting to the point where they're going to go rescue her. So there's always a chance, considering how powerful, at least the little bit of skill that we did see, Ayusha, Shinomori display, like being able to be sensed by Kenshin. He could not that Kanryo was he isn't as strong as the fastest dude in the world. I mean, the speed at which Shinmori grabbed him by the neck and just slammed him against the wall during his conversation with them and saying like you don't own us, I own this group. I thought the strength and the presence that he showed, it's like I feel like maybe if anybody would go save her, maybe it would be him. Because Kenji would probably be he'd probably be busy trying to keep Shinomori from getting away from him when we get to that point. I guess yeah, they could probably share a moment at some point from here, because they haven't shared much of a moment prior to that. Then she leaves, and then they go out. They're planning to go after her. Sonosuke makes his mind that he's gonna go help, and Yahiko from this point keeps on saying that since Sonosuke don't get left behind or whatever, don't be too slow. I kind of find that funny. He's saying that to somebody who's much older than him, and Yahiko is pretty young at this point. He hasn't experienced too many serious one-on-one fights with anybody, or a chase sequence like Kenshin or Sonosuke have. He has yet to really show supernatural prowess yet, though. Kaoru is the one that says after he runs off, saying that if I can't, she saved me, so I'm gonna go save her. She brings up that he shows signs of it being a great swordsman again. So we get that we get
And
that
you see shortly afterwards that he does seem to be able to take out the average enemy. He's better than the average person they fight at least past the gates. So
I thought that was kind of funny that Sonosuke throws him at somebody and then the gun disappears. He's like, where'd the gun go? And then you just hear a click and behind him he's like, I never thought my pickpocketing would come in handy.
yeah, that is a great little campy kind of humor moment.
It's like, excuse me? I mean, I knew it was gonna happen, but at the same time, it's like, good gracious, man. Yeah, yeah, Yahiko is apparently getting compliments from everybody. First from Himura, then from Kairo, the teacher that he's been, being taught under. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, he has something he is quick. I mean, he's not supernaturally quick like Kenshin is or Sonosuke, but I mean, he's quick enough. He's able to prevent that bullet from hitting her in the face. So hitting Megumi's face. So I was like, I mean, I guess shows he's got good reflexes. But,
yeah.
Shows
a lot of potential, and he's a good student for the dojo, even though she basically has one student. He's a good one.
I mean, I guess it's more about quality over quantity, and maybe that's what she's realized now. You know, maybe like it's better to train. It's better to overtrain the one student than undertrain three. That was meant to be. That was meant to sound more like philosophical than it actually did sound. I work on that. But now like the parents go after her. They break through the gate after Megumi is let in by the guards, and as we said, they break the parents like Kenshin almost not kills, but almost knocks everybody out. Sanosuke knocks his few out. We see Yaeko managed to knock out one guy. I mean, we cut to Megumi, and she's in the she's apparently in the creepy lair of Kanryo, and he's happy that she's back, and he's telling her I need more of that spider web opium, and then she's like, I'm not here to make more opium for you. I was like, that actually kind of caught me off guard. I was like, what is she doing here?
Kill bitches and commit suicide, and I'm all out of bitches in a second.
Dang it. Dang it. I mean, it's not wrong because she threatens Kanryo's life, who apparently is really scared after she stabs him.
Yeah, well, he didn't expect to be in that much direct danger so quickly.
That's what he gets for like walking up to her and picking her up by the chin.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, happens a lot in anime when there's a guy and a girl in a room together. Usually, the guy's always picking the woman by the chin. Like, I don't get. I guess that's meant to be a more intimate moment, but still.
The other thing about it, I think the reason he gets so scared is he was written that way so that when he's back in power again in a couple seconds, like he can be a giant bully and you can see what a coward he really is. Do you know what I mean? Like he's in a little tiny bit of danger, he gets a cut in the arm, and all of a sudden he's terrified, and then like.
I mean, according to the real life version, well, the real life person that he was based off of, very little by the way. He wasn't that great of a guy, as you told me. Like he wasn't really. He was despicable as a list. But
he was. But you get to see a moment about like how tough he is if he didn't have all this power behind him. He's not that worthwhile of a person.
Power, more like money. But sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if you didn't, you see that he's kind of a coward and kind of a chicken shit. Like when he doesn't have all that like muscle like to back himself up.
I mean, that's true. I mean, after she stabs him, the about to actually finish the job, and then the knife is taken from her, and apparently Ayoshi's been in the room the entire time. He gets upset and then slaps her. Which is
kind of interesting because he lets her get off the first dagger stab.
Well, I mean, later on we learned that apparently he wasn't all that fond of the outfit he was part of in the first place. But
yeah,
pretty much, he slaps her to the ground and starts kicking her in the face again. Howard moves like. I
just mean that he allowed the stab to happen.
I know what you mean. I'm just saying that, you know,
Shinomori
wasn't that really. I mean, I understand. I'm just saying, like, it makes sense considering that he wasn't already a fan of the outfit that he was working with. For what I don't know what reason he was here. I guess we'll get that little monologue later. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense that he let her get the first one off, but I'm pretty sure he did not want him to die for some reason. It has something to do with that thing that he was so happy and sweating over at the end of the last episode. But essentially, yeah, he slaps her to the ground. Kanryo slaps Megumi to the ground and starts kicking her. As I was watching, I was like, you feel powerful now, kicking a woman in the face. That's really what I said. I was like, jeez. But yeah, she's knocked out, and now like, pretty much, Kanryo tells Ayoshi to get his men to into the room so they can like prepare to torture her, and he's like, actually they're kind of busy right now. Like, what do you mean? Don't you hear that? They get quiet and faintly hear a whistle in the background, and apparently it's the emergency whistle. I'm like, that's not a good emergency device there. If apparently you can be talking over it when there's an emergency, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a very effective like.
Maybe they kicked that up a couple volume notches, you know.
Maybe they tried to, but someone hit them in the gut, and he was like. But he's like, yeah, there's some people out there. He looks out the door and he sees Kenshin kicking, like taking down his men. Nah, he's afraid, wondering why he would risk his life for her. And then we get Ayoshi's little bit of more character development and shows a little bit of the guy. I guess he's kind of loosely based off of. I find this guy intriguing. I find Ayoshi interesting. Not a bad guy. Seems just more of like he's more antagonistic and like in a weird antagonistic. Like you don't know what line you can walk with him. Because for the half the time he seems like not all that concerned. He pretty much sits there just telling him that this guy, unlike the current day imperialists, don't weigh the pros and cons of things. You just do things. He hasn't been corrupted by anything in this world yet, or at all. So you can't reason with him. And Kanye hears this, and he does what all big money businessmen do: ignore it all and try to pay him off.
Yeah, he's like, great job feeding my men. I'll pay you the salary of 50 men to be my bodyguard.
In 100.
200. And then Kenshin just cuts a stone pillar in half and like it goes flying into the building and does significant structural damage.
I was like, good gracious. This man, first of all, broke your statue, which is probably like cement or whatever.
I was thinking it probably was stone, given that like you're probably right about cement.
Whatever it was, it's not easy to do what he did with the blunt side of a sword.
Right.
Just gonna point that out. Kenshin's still using the dull side of that sword.
Like, gosh, he doesn't seem super patient right now. And then he's like, I'll be there within the hour, he says, which means I'm not giving you an hour.
He probably just like awkward, like, oh, you wanna make deals with me, huh? You wanna make deals? I'm not. No, this ain't happening. He uses his sword. It just goes right over to the statue and just says,
You love it too, because you know that like even now he's holding back.
Make my day. It was like, oh dear. And then Ayoshi is just like laughing to himself because I told you.
Yeah.
That's really what's happening up there too. It's like he's just laughing. He knows that, like, he knows Kanye is a coward. He's been knowing it for a while. But yeah, and then Ayoshi's like, tried to tell you. I mean, not in so many words, but he said, nah, like, I tried to tell you.
Oh, he's ruled by his ideals, not by logical, like, transactional feelings about things.
I wish Ayoshi would have said, if this man was ruled by money, he would not be a Rurouni, being a bum on the street. Just tell you that right now.
Yeah, didn't he say he'd be like a high level general or something like that by now if he was that kind of guy?
I think he was already kind of when he was actively fighting for the Imperialist army. I think he was, but I would believe that, Kenshin is not like again, we go to the whole idea that Kenshin doesn't look that dangerous, but like that bird you told me about with the death bird or whatever,
yeah,
you don't want to aggravate it.
So you don't want to be on the wrong side of that thing's beak.
But I mean, like, I'm just saying, it is like one of those things, like, Kenshin doesn't look dangerous, but like he is dangerous if you are not, like, if he already sees you as a threat, you're not gonna be happy at the end of the day.
Right.
But like Kanye was like, oh dang, now I gotta go and torture her for all the information. But before you do that, she pretty much takes her to the observatory on the 3rd floor and locks her up in there. He has her sword back, by the way.
Her knife, yeah.
Your knife. And he's like, I don't really care about the opium or whatever Kanye's got the money wise. Like if you kill yourself here, it won't matter to me. Basically, he pretty much told her to do was kill herself, like in that room.
Yeah, and he's like, you're gonna get tortured. Kenshin's not gonna make it. You're gonna get tortured. I appreciate that you brought Kenshin to me because I want to fight him. So
that too.
As a token of my gratitude, here's the knife that you were using back to you, so that you're not gonna be able to do anything but kill yourself with it. But have a good time.
And he first locks the door, and he's like, he said he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it up here in the hour. Like he pretty much gave her a time limit of like, you decide what you're gonna do with your life in here. I don't care. I just want to fight.
Yes.
But with that fight, after all that happens, and Kanye was pissing himself probably. They bust through the front door of the mansion, and then Jaime is waiting. And Kenshin says, which is kind of weird, but he says it anyway. Oh, you? Why would a man of your skill be the first one that we come across? So I'm like, huh. I honestly probably want to say it's probably due to the amount of space he needs, probably, to fight effectively, considering that like he's like a
I was
special ops
thinking that
dude.
he's probably the weakest of the people they're gonna fight.
I mean, the guy was like mostly skilled at well, I guess evasion, but also like doing constant, researching things. So like, yeah, who knows?
I
Like,
expected I expected him to be hiding in the room when they got in there, and like Kenshin sensing him but not knowing exactly what was going on. I didn't expect him to walk in the room and have the guy just standing there ready to fight in the middle of the room like he was back to the wall about it.
maybe he's stronger than you think. But and pretty much that's where the episode ends. I want to point out something, and I guess it doesn't really matter. I just want to say, I'm pretty sure there are people who watch Rurouni Kenshin who are probably sitting there saying that like it's kind of got some problems. Uh, Again, this particular part of the I guess you want to call it the Oni Wildbaru clan arc, if you're gonna call it that, or the Kanri arc, whatever you want to call it. This structure of a giant building with the goal at the top, and you're fighting really powerful guys one on one, has been seen and done to death before. At the same time, this show is the product of its era. The original story has already been written and drawn out and done already. They're just reanimating it and trying to make it look good. I guess this is mostly just towards the people who probably do not like Rurouni Kenshin based on what's going on. This is a pretty good show. I already saw the this part of the show coming. Considering I already seen these types of like archetypes before, where mansion, there's a guy at the bottom you're gonna fight, and then you gotta get past him, and then there's like many fights in between before you get to the next strong guy. They fight that guy, then they get to the main strong guy to get to whoever is like, I guess, taken or held prisoner or whatever they're going after at the top. Conry, I suspect, will probably run away before Kenshin gets anywhere near him. I suspect Kenshin's also going to be the one, like, I mean, obviously, the one holding back Mayoshi Shinomura. Basically, because we haven't seen him do anything yet. He seems the most interested in Kenshin. But his character, I like him a little more because he's got a mysterious aura around him. He doesn't seem that bad of a guy, mostly just in things for himself. He seems to care about the people in his clan too, so again, not a bad guy. Which is, again, I think I brought this up before, is like, it kind of makes you wonder, why is he working for Conrio? He already said he doesn't really care about the money or the drugs. What is Conrio offering him is my major question. And I think the solution might just be simpler. That ending scene in the last episode, he probably had something, which is probably what he was intending to pay Shinomori off with, possibly. Like maybe Ayushi understood Kenshin because like he also is a man who doesn't like really get bought off by monetary gain.
That makes sense to me.
So like, I mean, maybe he had something that he needs, possibly. But yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, like, what is this man doing working for this guy? Yeah, he's not the.
It's just convenient.
I mean, that's true. I mean, maybe it's more simpler than I think. I just don't know. It just seems kind of weird. After everything he said,
and maybe he's using it as a base of operations for like finding the imperialists that he's trying to kill off and stuff like that. We don't know very much about his personality or his motivations at all. Like, we don't know what he wants or doesn't want. He just seems to be, and we don't even know for sure that he's strong. It seems clear that he is because he has the respect of everybody as being a strong guy, but like, we have no information about him. So there's a whole storyline there that we're probably going to find out in the next couple episodes.
I get that, and I understand my questions are probably going to get answered because, again, I mean, we don't know much about him. He's already pretty much stated his like line in the sand. He also isn't afraid of Conrio. The guy literally grabbed him by the freaking like, tie and just thrown against the wall, threatening him.
Mm-hmm.
Conrio probably had a deuce in his underwear right there. He's like, "Oh shoot, I gotta get out of here. Why did I hire this man? Why do I do this every time? I almost win, and then I immediately hired this crazy psychotic guys." But yeah, Hanya's the first fight. It's gonna be intriguing to see who fights him.
It's gonna be intriguing to see who's stronger than him for the second fight.
I guess we haven't seen everybody from the clan yet. I don't expect the bullet dude and the fire guy to be back anytime soon.
No, I don't think those guys are going to be involved. There's 3 guys involved. So if he's the
But
weakest,
one of them
the
is
3,
Ayoshi, I suspect. I think what's gonna happen is that Hanya's gonna go down. Gonna be a shock to the leader. Whoever's getting
Kenshin's already beaten this guy once.
No, I don't think he does. He gone down.
Last time he fought him, he put him out of fighting condition for 2 or 3 days. Remember?
Yeah, I don't consider that really a true fight because that guy, even with that injury, he seemed almost certain he could take down Kenshin. Well, I mean, he was there.
Yeah.
He said that he said to Kenshin that like, "I'm just here to get my friends. I had no intention of fighting you. We will fight, however, later on the day." He seemed very confident in his strength. Like it didn't seem like he was afraid at all when he was facing him.
Well, yeah, but he could have been putting on a face so that he wasn't showing his weakness at that point too.
Putting on a face.
But
Sorry.
we know that Kenshin wasn't trying his hardest because we've seen what Kenshin's like when he tries his hardest.
Oh, you mean ask the statue he cut in half?
No, I'm talking about his last fight. You know, with the assassin guy. Like, you saw the like.
No, still,
really
ask the statue.
Yeah, and he cut through a statue. Well, he's also cut through a cannonball that was flying at him.
That is also interesting too. Like the things he's managed to slice in half the blunt side of a sword, which, by the way, shouldn't really be much of a weapon. But
I think he's using the sharp side of the sword, honestly, because he does mention at that it's okay to use the sharp side against inanimate objects when he cuts the cannonball in half.
I still think it's not unreasonable that he cut that with the blunt side of the sword.
Well, we know for sure that he cut the cannonball with the sharp side.
Did he say he cut the cannonball with the sharp side? Oh.
Yeah, he does. So if he's cutting cannonballs in half, then he could probably be cutting the other one in half too.
And that poor sword. I mean, the craftsmanship that goes into making swords is no joke. And
or it could be like a technique, like one of his superpowered techniques.
Well, I mean, with the way the animation kind of went with the like when it shot out of the cannon and it went slow-mo for a minute, you got really confused.
Yeah, like no regular sword would have been able to cut Frieza apart either, but you know, Trunks' technique helped.
I mean, are you sure? Because Krillin's Kienzon, I mean, I get that's an energy circle disc thing, but still, like, wouldn't the same cutting properties apply? I get that
when Trunks cut up, you could knock Frieza through a mountain in a fight. Like when Trunk and like Frieza was made out of metal and all that stuff. When Trunks sliced him into pieces before blasting him away, like he was using a sword, which we know is a regular sword because we see it break later. Like, so we know that he's channeling his power through the sword, and that's definitely something that Kenshin can be doing with his sword too, because we've seen low-grade powers in use in this anime already.
No, I guess. I mean, regardless of what's going on, Kenshin's still like. I mean, basically, like, if Kenshin ever caught Conrio knows he's dead. Though Kenshin's already said that he doesn't kill people, so I guess not dead. More like, you're probably gonna be like, you're probably gonna be tossed in jail if he catches you.
Yeah.
I don't think Conrio's like broken any laws yet. I mean, other than opium, but I think. No, he's broke some laws. Never mind. I was sitting there thinking, like, did Kanye break any laws? Like, no, he's broken some laws. But yeah, I guess with that we can end it here. In this episode, we're gonna be whoever's gonna be against Hanya, and we'll see whoever's past Hanya. Because in the intro we seen a giant guy with a ball and chain. Kenshin just jumps over, and then some guy or some person we don't see with like claws on their hands. But there's a couple of characters we haven't seen yet.
So that'll be interesting too. I don't think the big guy with ball and chain is going to be the one that like gives Kenshin a real challenge.
I don't think Kenshin's gonna fight him. I still think, and I mean, and I could be completely wrong, but I still think that Kenshin's probably not gonna get just a fight until like Shinomori, because like I believe. Now, granted, he probably could fight Hanya based on the skill, and you know, probably Kenshin probably wants a second shot at him. But even though he probably won't exert too much energy, I think Kenshin's going to be wanting to be at full strength to fight that guy, because I mean, he's already looked at him, he's already commented that like he's definitely skilled. You know, Kenshin's already mentioned that he's already that guy is like really skilled. So I think Kenshin thinks like he must think that he's like on a level similar to him or something like that. Like we haven't seen Shinomori fight yet, so who knows? But like, I mean,
which makes you. I was wondering why he even sent those guys in to fight in the first place. I'm like, if he knows that he's the only one that's on Kenshin's level and he's so excited about fighting him, why make him fight through two of his henchmen first? It was like kind of a weird choice.
I think maybe it's because based on, I mean, think about it. In this world as it's been set up, somebody like Kenshin, one, shouldn't even really exist. Two, shouldn't even be alive right now because most of them die. Most of them, like maybe 75% of them died already in the war prior to this. And two, three, I mean, the 30% that are still around are probably like old men already being degraded by money as it is. Because he mentioned that some of the imperialists have become scum for the cash. Someone like Kenshin shouldn't even really exist. He probably wasn't certain that he was the battle side that he was probably hearing about. But first of all, that's probably one thing. He didn't know who he was. I mean, he saw the scar on his face and the hair, but it could be anybody who probably had red hair and a scar on their face. For all he
knew. That doesn't narrow it down at all.
So like, I mean, he doesn't know. He saw him. Yeah, he saw him for sure. And
I walk down the road. I see 5 or 6 people that are redheaded with an X-shaped scar on their head every day that are sword wielders.
He wasn't sure. He needed all the information he could, and he got confirmation by the research that Hanya, I guess, did in the week that apparently went by and didn't do anything, which is also interesting. As far as Hanya didn't try to get her back within like the.
But you didn't really answer the question because I mean, at this point, he knows that Kenshin is Kenshin.
Yeah, I mean, now he knows, but he didn't know that prior to the research.
How did he leave? Why is he leaving 2 henchmen in the way to like slow him down?
I don't think he thinks Kenshin's gonna be involved with the fighting at all. I think he suspects Kenshin's gonna try running ahead. If he believes he knows Kenshin, and I bet he believes he knows Kenshin, that he's probably gonna just put walls in his way that Kenshin's just gonna go right by. Because Kenshin didn't come alone, and Shinomori saw that. I suspect he just wants a one-on-one fight with him. So if he puts people in his way. And maybe also it's probably he's trying to play the part for Kanryo, even though he's stated distaste for him as it is. Maybe he's just trying to play the part, sending his minions ahead, so that way they get into a conversation, so at least it looks like, you know, he's doing the job that he was hired to. Meanwhile, Kenshin's not gonna bother with these people. If he does fight Hanya, probably a 1-2 sword deal, and then he's on his way. But the next couple of fights that get involved, it's probably going to be Yayiko being left behind to fight, and then it's going to be Sanosuke being left behind to fight. Kenshin just runs ahead and deals with Shinomori. But at the end of the day, he's probably just trying to wheedle them out so that way he only has to deal with the person he's after.
Yeah.
Now outside, situation, if you wanted to truly fight him, who knows? I mean, he already made it seem like he didn't know. He had suspicions, but he didn't want to get involved with him just yet. I think ultimately that's what it came down to. He did not know it was him until he confirmed it. Because also that guy doesn't seem like he's all that like driven by emotion. At least yet. But he doesn't seem like he's all that driven by emotion too. So it's probably like he wanted to play the waiting game. He likes to like wait and lay in wait for his prey. And
I could see that.
I bet he suspects that Kenshin probably saw him anyway. So like, I mean, yeah, he wants to fight him, but like he's probably willing to wait. He's probably more than willing to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're that strong supposedly, and you're near on par level with your prey, you're gonna want to wait until to deal with them. You're not gonna want to like kind of like the whole Saiyan thing. You know, they want their fights to last as long as possible.
Yeah, but Goku would want his opponent to be at their max before he fought them, like giving the sense of being to sell.
We're just gonna move on past sense of being because people seem to go to that every time.
He wants his enemy to be at their best when he fights them. That's just
yeah. But who's saying that Kenshin's gonna really like even if he fights Hanya? I mean, you said he doesn't. Maybe Hanya isn't all that strong. Maybe he's the weakest. But it's like, I mean, if that's the case, and Kenshin's the one that fights him, that's not gonna really, you know, Kenshin probably won't exert that much energy. And two, I believe the next two fights is gonna be Sanosuke and Yahiko, and you know, Kenshin's just gonna bolt right past him, leaving the fight to them as he goes ahead because he brought them along because he trusts them. Like, if he's truly after Megumi, he's gonna make his way all the way to the top of the building. He's not gonna care about the roadblocks in the way.
He trusts them, but like he trusts them, but is Sanosuke and Yahiko enough to fight Hanya?
I'm not saying they're gonna fight Hanya. I feel like if they are gonna put someone against Hanya, it's gonna probably be Kenshin just to display a little bit of his skill. But if he is indeed the weakest, like you suspected he is, then Kenshin won't exert that much energy. The next two fights, he'll just go right past. He won't even bother drawing his sword.
Unless they're better fighters.
I mean, even so, do you think Yahiko and Sanosuke are gonna like let Kenshin try to get involved in the fight when they know they need him? They need him like to be able to fight the final dude.
I don't think they're gonna like. I don't think Kenshin is gonna like leave his friends in danger to go save a third, newer, less impressive friend.
I believe he would if he trusted and he thinks they're very capable. He's already commented.
I know, but
he's already commented.
I wouldn't think that Sanosuke and Yahiko could take on Hanya, and I think Hanya is going to be the weakest of the people they fight.
I mean, I believe that they're capable. I don't know about Yahiko. I can definitely vouch for Sanosuke. Like, I believe he's strong enough to fight one of those guys above Hanya. I would not have Sanosuke fight a guy with a sword at all. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he does fight Hanya, but that means Yahiko's gotta fight the next strongest guy, and that. I don't remember a lot about Yahiko. I definitely know that he's his character. They build him up a lot from what I remember. But I don't remember if this is the moment that they choose to use to build him up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, whoa, man, they're gonna put a little kid against a grown man. That's such a bad idea. Now, I mean, maybe based on like size and difference, maybe. I mean, hey, if you're quick enough and you're small enough, you are capable of taking out a big guy. You just take care of the weight. Because I don't know, Yahiko's in a situation right now, at a stance right now. I mean, it's already said that he's gonna be a great swordsman, and Kairo's already brought up that he's a good swordsman. So I guess maybe. Whatever it is, maybe we'll see Yahiko use one of the techniques from the life-giving sword, and we'll see it here for the very first time. I don't know though. Or maybe Yahiko says he's gonna take on Hanya. Who knows? I mean, Hanya got in the way of getting the antidote to him in the first place, so maybe Yahiko was gonna take it up with him. Maybe Yahiko will be the one to take this guy on. And maybe, maybe Yahiko does take him out.
You sound like you know something I don't know, but...
I don't actually. This is not saying. I'm just speculating.
That just seems so doubtful, unless you know something I don't know.
I am speculating. I mean, I know they build Yahiko up and he gets like a huge moment, but I don't think it's now.
Yeah.
I can see a situation maybe Yahiko could take him out, but it'll be at the cost of like his body. I don't mean him dying. I mean like possibly maybe Hanya will like maybe like Yahiko will be able to take him out, but he'll just be really tired and have a broken arm and a leg, possibly. And he'll have something broken on him by the end of this fight.
Right.
That's usually what happens, you know. But I mean, even this other case, maybe if it's Kenshin that takes him out, it won't take him long, and he rushes to the next area. But then they gotta separate because this is how this arc, this is how this type of like, arc works. They got the big mansion and they split off and have one-on-one fights. Then the main character goes off and fights the big guy. So like, I mean,
Right.
Kenshin will. I mean, unless they all go together, it's possible that maybe they have one-on-one fights, but they all stick together. But I do not suspect that like ultimately Kenshin's gonna sit there and stay behind because he's afraid that his friends are gonna get hurt. They came along to help her, to help get her back. They know the consequences. Yahika's already said that he wants to help. And in Sanosuke's made up his mind that he's gonna help too.
Right.
I think he trusts him, regardless of what you think of their skill level. We don't know what they're really capable of right now at this moment. It's been several episodes now. We don't know what they're capable of. We don't know what new techniques they've learned, or if they've learned any new techniques at all.
We also don't have any indication that they're training in any special way.
You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? Who really knows? I mean, great, we haven't seen anything. Yeah, but I mean, Yahiko's been training with Kairo. Who knows what, I guess, what technique maybe he's not mastered, but like, you know, maybe he's been tuned into and he's been trying to learn.
He's not going to learn this level of stuff from Kaoru.
You don't know that. I mean, he's learning the sword. He's not really learning like how Kairo fights. It's like he's learning the sword technique.
Yeah.
That's what he's there to learn. So like, there might be something in his sword technique, in that sword technique, that may be useful. I'm not saying it's like the high level, heck no. But I'm just saying that like it's possible. Because I remember that, you know, Yahiko is a good character by the end of the show. But I remember a little bit that I do remember of him. But I do not remember if this is the moment that he shines, or this is the moment he gets his face implanted into the ground.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he plants into the ground, his face breaks open, and then it just glows. Like the yolk of a cracked egg, just glows yellow.
They're not endorsing child abuse. With that, we're gonna end the podcast.
Oh dear.
See you guys next week, I hope, with the next episode of Rurouni Kenshin. If we're not in jail after that last comment. Good night, everybody.
Good night.